Hi, Michael Bull here with the Commercial Real Estate Show. We're at ICSC Southeastern Conference in Atlanta. I'm here with Debbie Rodkin. And Debbie, a lot of people are familiar with cost segregation. Some people actually are not. Tell us the basics of cost segregation.
Cost segregation is an engineering-based procedure allowing you to accelerate the depreciation, moving assets from a longer life, 39 years for commercial, or 27 and a half years to residential, to shorter lives, 5, 7, or 15 years. And when you accelerate the depreciation, you lower your federal income taxes. And the savings can be hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the scope of the property.
Okay, so this is interesting. So why don't more accountants, why aren't more of our accountants telling us that about cost segregation? It's like, I've done it twice on some properties I own. It was fantastic. It costs a lot less than the tax savings. Why aren't we hearing more about this?
I don't know. I don't know. I talk to CPAs every day. This is a no-brainer. It is a great way to add value for clients, to bring something specific to the table that is very actionable and they can see the results immediately. Did you know you can go back to 1987? Any building that was acquired, constructed, or renovated since 1987 is eligible for accelerated depreciation. It doesn't mean they're all going to make sense, but they're eligible. So then we do an analysis to see, is this something that is viable? And if so, then we do a recommend to the owner, to the investor, to the tenant, to the CPA to actually move forward and take advantage of the savings.
That's amazing. I didn't know we could go back to the 80s. Can we go back to the 80s music as well?
Some hair bands?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Well, what's new in cost segregation?
Glad you asked. There have been so many changes every year since 9/11, really. Congress has put into play certain rules to help jumpstart the economy. And so some years, if you have new construction or if you have renovations, you get extra savings. Or some years, if you own a certain type of property, say it's a retail building or a restaurant, you get other savings. Other times, if the building's 3 years old or more, and you do renovations, you can get other savings. So there's so many great years that will give you extra benefits from cost segregation. Right now, Congress just finalized the maintenance and repairs regulations. And basically, one of the biggest questions we get from CPAs is, do I expense a renovation or do I have to capitalize it? And having this, it's called a unit of property designation. And by doing a unit of property designation report, the CPAs are actually able to justify whether you're able to expense it or if you have to capitalize it. And this has been always the biggest question and the biggest hassle. And now there are certain rules that have to be done. They have to have set some rules in writing by January 1st of 2014 to help their clients be able to figure things out moving forward for anything future. So not just cost segregation, not just asset management, but this unit of property is so important for property owners to have.
Okay, and the after-tax cash flow increases can be substantial. Can someone get an estimate on what the survey would cost, the cost segregation survey would cost, and what their possible tax savings might be?
All the time. We do a free analysis all the time. I just have to ask certain questions about the property. What kind of property is it? Is it a retail center? Is it medical? Is it apartments? Is it assisted living? Is it a gas station? Is it an office building? Is it a car dealership? And then I put together an analysis looking at the depreciation schedule and a little bit more about the scope of the building. And we can see if this makes sense. And if it does, we make a recommendation. We also can tell them at that point how much it's going to cost. And the costs for these studies have come down significantly just in the past 8-10 years. Bedford's been doing cost segregation studies since 2002.
What is a typical cost range?
To be anywhere from, say, $5,500 to $9,500, depending, again, on the scope of the property.
But of course, you're not going to do it unless it saves you lots of money and it makes sense economically.
Exactly.
Okay.
We only recommend moving forward if you're going to save money. But some people want to do this anyway, just to have a correct depreciation schedule and to have that correct asset list. Because if you are going to be planning, if you have planned renovations and you have the correct asset list, you can write down those assets. Otherwise, they stay on your books as a ghost asset for 39 years. So it helps them have an idea of what their building actually has.
Okay, so if our listeners or viewers have more questions, what's the one absolute best way to reach you to get more information?
Call me, 404-643-9456, Debbie Rodkin with Bedford Cost Segregation.
All right, you heard it right here on the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull from the 2013 conference.